How's it going, everybody? Welcome to the Two Bros Sports Podcast. I am your host, Hunter Smith, and I am here with my brother and co-host, Dakota Smith. How are you doing tonight, Dakota?
Doing good. Looking forward to finally getting into some NBA talk. It's that time of year. Things are about to start winding up. Free agency's slowing down. Training camps are starting soon, and our Dubs are looking to defend their title.
Yeah, exactly. It should be a very exciting year. A lot of teams with key pieces that they acquired over the offseason, and it should be interesting to see how some play out. Well, yeah, obviously today's episode is over the NBA. To start things off, however, the schedule of the podcast will be NFL every Thursday morning, NBA on Monday and Friday, Premier League Wednesday, and NCAA football on Fridays as well. NCAA basketball will not start until closer to the start of the season, and when we get to that point, we will let you all know where it will fit in with the schedule. Over the next few weeks leading up to the NBA season, we will be looking over all six divisions and the rosters and how we think they will do this season. For today's episode, we are starting off with the Pacific Division over in the Western Conference. And the first team is the defending NBA champions, the Golden State Warriors. And let's just say, with nearly an identical starting lineup, I mean, you could argue some pieces being a little bit different with Wiseman coming back and things like that. The bench shaken up, to say the least. Losing a few pieces, few role players Golden State did, and we'll have to go over it and see how everybody's gonna be doing.
So I think you start with the rookies. I think you start with Patrick Baldwin Jr. Where is he going to fit in? Was a highly recruited player out of high school. Went to Wisconsin, Milwaukee. Didn't really fit in. Had some injury trouble. What's he going to be like in the NBA? I think he's the big piece. But then you look in the signing of Dante DiVincenzo. I love that signing. I think that's probably your sixth man coming off the bench. Well, it'll probably be Poole, then DiVincenzo, but that's your second backcourt is Jordan Poole and Dante DiVincenzo. That's would be a starting backcourt for most teams in the league. So you look at that backcourt there. What's Wiseman going to look like? I think JaMychal Green's a good veteran signing. I think just add more veteran presence to that team along with Iguodala, Curry, Green, Thompson, Wiggins. I think this could be a very big year for Moses Moody. I think this is the year him and Kuminga need to take a step for it to be crucial players. They've got decent minutes last year, but I think this is where the year where we start to see Moody and Kuminga become big pieces.
Yeah, no, for sure. Kuminga only 19 still, Moses Moody 20. Jordan Poole is only 23. And I know people are saying this roster is getting old, but Wiggins is only 27. Wiseman's 21. Those three guys before that I just named, picking up Patrick Baldwin Jr. is also only 19. DiVincenzo's 25. I mean, I wouldn't say the roster is necessarily old, but it's got the very good veteran pieces to lead this team throughout the season. Steph's going on 34, Draymond 32. Iggy is going to retire after this year. The funny quote that he said to Steph, telling Steph that this would be his last one and there's no bringing him back. Clay's 32. Hopefully Clay can stay healthy again. I think it's a really good roster. I think they can definitely go back to back. At the moment I have them coming out of the West. There might be some biasy there, but even without it, I don't know a team in the West right now that's going to beat them in a 7-game series when it comes to playoff time.
I still don't know if there's a team capable in the NBA of beating them in a 7-game series. I just don't, with the way things are right now. And this roster is the same. This roster got better. They're going to be just as good as they were a year before. But the key to the Warriors, as has been the years before they won the championship, is how do you keep all these guys healthy? Steph's injury prone. We know that. Draymond's had some injury trouble. We all know what happened with Klay Thompson and him missing 2 full years getting healthy. I mean, he's not the same player, but he's still one of the greatest shooters there ever has been on a basketball court. And we know James Wiseman and his injury struggles. Like that, the key for Golden State is to stay healthy. But I think with the depth that they have, that makes it a little bit easier. You're not going to rely on Steph, Draymond, and Clay to play 38 minutes a night. They can play 32, and the job will still get done because they have so many pieces around them.
Yeah, for sure. Especially in some of those games where they get going early, you're up 25 in third quarter. When they have some games like that, they have the type of depth that will hold that lead, and nothing's going to get blown with the Golden State Warriors with the lead like that.
No, I think
Really, really no team in the NBA is, but this team has a lot of depth. The only piece that I was a little disappointed with in the offseason that I think all Warriors fans were a little bit disappointed with is losing Gary Payton II. I think that was a big piece last year, especially defensively. I mean, he was the man who was to guard John Morant in the playoffs and guard any other point guard when he came in, and so I think that's a big piece.
yeah, I think defensively that hurts, but that can be replaced. Your team defense just has to be better at that point. And I think that Memphis team is probably the biggest threat to them. I don't want to slight Phoenix, but we'll see. I
Yeah,
love
for
Booker,
sure.
I love Paul, but I just don't know if the Suns are deep enough to contend with Golden State yet.
Right, right, and can't wait for that Christmas Day matchup at the Chase Center.
Yes, yes.
Grizzlies.
Draymond even invited Ja over for Christmas dinner after the game was over.
Yeah, it's gonna be a good one. Moving on here in the Pacific, we're gonna go straight to Los Angeles, and the team who wasn't healthy last season. We're gonna go to the LA Clippers. Injury problems last season with Paul George. Obviously Kawhi was out all year, and that is a huge loss. But honestly, I like the makeup of the Clippers. Getting John Wall in the offseason, I don't think is bad at all. I think that's actually gonna help them a decent amount. Terrence Mann showed some flashes where he could be very good role player. He might actually start for them, honestly. Brandon Boston Jr. coming in out of Kentucky, rookie. Um,
Uh, he's in his second year. Boston's in his
oh
second
yeah,
year. He
he's
was
a
a rookie.
second year player.
He was a rookie last year.
Shoot, I forgot about that. Nicholas Batum leadership. I mean, I know he's not nothing crazy, but he's got a lot of experience. I actually like the Clippers this year. I think they'll be
I
a good team.
I like the roster. I'm really interested to see what they're going to do with both Wall and Reggie Jackson. I wonder if they'll probably start Wall, bring Jackson off the bench, but I don't. John Wall when was the last time John Wall played and John Wall was healthy? It's been forever. I think they're probably going to ease Wall in. I could see Wall coming off the bench early in the season, then transition to a starting role, but her starting lineup's probably going to look something like Reggie Jackson, Kawhi, Paul George. They'll start Zubac, and then they could go a lot of ways. They could go Covington,
All
they
right.
could go Batum, they could go Kennard, they could go Mann, they could go Norman Powell if they wanted to. I think the Powell's probably you go a little smaller there with Powell and Kawhi. Powell's only 6'3", but I think that fifth starting spot is probably between Powell and Covington.
Yeah, I'm looking at Marcus Morris actually. I think he's another one who can compete for a starting spot. If not, coming off the bench, he's a good role player in the NBA, especially now. And I like the defense of this team. Paul George and Kawhi, they can guard 1 through 5, honestly. I the defense on the wings is definitely set. They're gonna have somebody night in and night out who can guard Kevin Durant and LeBron James and slow them down. I mean,
Yeah.
you're not gonna stop either one, but you're gonna be able to slow them down with Kawhi and Paul George.
Yeah, and you can use both of them. Like that's just it. They're both excellent wing defenders. I'm really interested to see how Kawhi looks missing all of last year with the injury. I mean, Kawhi is Kawhi. I think he'll be fine. I have no doubt he's going to still be a great player. But the question then becomes, well, how does this offense mesh? Where does like John Wall's a ball dominant point guard? I I think John Wall's gonna have to distribute a lot. Because we all know John Wall's not a great shooter, but John Wall likes to get to the rim. I think you start using John Wall as that drive and kick guy, surround him with a bunch of shooters, and just go. If John Wall is still the same player he is.
Yeah, no, absolutely. I if there's another player right there that I wish never got injured, John Wall. So great at Washington, just years ago. But we're gonna go ahead and keep it going. Los Angeles Lakers. There's a lot of talk around this roster. Um, Interview with LeBron saying that this team's coming in with an underdog mentality and they're gonna embrace that. And I think that is more scary than anything that they're gonna come in like that, thinking that they're not supposed to, win the championship or anything. LeBron, 37, still out here trying to play with Bronny. AD's 29. You've got your big three. I don't even know if I want to put Russell Westbrook in there anymore. It's it's not. I love Westbrook. I loved him at OKC, but ever since he left, it's just been it's his career's gone. I don't want to say downhill. He's still a great player, but he's just not the same, and he hasn't been the same since he got to Los Angeles.
I agree. I mean, obviously, this roster is going to depend on LeBron, AD, and Westbrook. I like Thomas Bryant. I think that's a good move. I think the Patrick Beverly move was a good move. I like Dennis Schroeder on this team. I like Lonnie Walker on this team. It gives you more pop. I think Lonnie Walker's kind of going to fill that Malik Monk type role. Maybe not as well as Malik Monk did it, but he's a guard that can come off the bench and fill it up. I think he's going to be a good piece for them. I'm just worried about where they're going to give AD his minutes and how much center is Anthony Davis going to have to play? Because AD's come out and said he's not a center, he's a four. But I think he fits so well into this team as a four when you can play Lonnie Walker and Russell Westbrook alongside of LeBron. I take that back. He fits well as the four. You think Thomas Bryant's the starting center?
Um, I think it's between Thomas Bryant and Damian Jones. And the thing is, I think Thomas Bryant will start. I think bringing his athleticism in is going to really help this team. He's a big, he's a little bit of smaller center, but he's a bigger boy and he's got ridiculous athleticism. I mean, if he comes off pick and roll, he's gonna catch a lob. I mean, it's something they can do. He's gonna get up there. He's gonna grab rebounds. He's gonna average. Honestly, I think he'll average 9, 10 rebounds a night, even with Anthony Davis on the floor. And he doesn't need to score. He doesn't need to play defense, rebound the ball.
That's gonna be his mantra. He's gonna, because I mean, LeBron dominates the ball, Westbrook dominates the ball, AD dominates the ball. That's always the problem I've thought with this team is that there's just not enough basketball to go around between the three of them.
Yeah.
I think if Westbrook just accepted the distributor role and focused on getting the ball to LeBron, to Anthony Davis, or he could just learn to shoot, and then LeBron can be the distributor that he is so great at being, and then there you go. But we all know Russell Westbrook and his shooting woes, and woes is putting it nicely. We all know how bad of a shooter he is. If he could just improve that, I think the Lakers improved tremendously.
Yeah, I agree. Russ Westbrook shot 29.8% from three last season, and it's not good. Especially for him playing, like you said, he's a more ball dominant role of a player. And at that point guard position, especially in today's game, you have to be able to shoot the basketball. I mean, there's no really question about it. And I'm looking here as trying to find the team stats. I was trying to find I can't find the team stats, but Anthony Davis also another person who just didn't shoot last season. I did see he was 18.6% from three. That is atrocious. I saw something Anthony Davis said his wrist was just he had a wrist injury last year that affected his 3-point shooting. So it was on ESPN, and so I'd assume it's true. If that's the case, hopefully he's healthy. I love Anthony Davis. I wish he doesn't get injured. I actually wish he stayed in New Orleans. But I think Anthony Davis is a great player. I hope he stays healthy this season, and he will be a huge part in this Lakers offense.
Yeah, and not a whole lot more to say on the Lakers. I mean, if LeBron's LeBron, this team will be decent.
It's a playoff team no matter what. You have
I
LeBron James, it's a playoff team.
yeah, if
I
you're
say
not
that, and they weren't last year. But
if you have LeBron James and Anthony Davis, you should be a playoff team. A healthy put that
yeah,
in quotes. Healthy Anthony Davis. Like he has to be healthy or they're just not going to be good. Well, you
that's
saw
for
that
sure.
last year at the tail end of the season when they fell off. No healthy AD and that team just falls apart.
Yeah, completely agree. Next up, Phoenix Suns. In the NBA Finals just a short time ago. DeAndre Ayton this offseason, they matched the Pacers offer as he was a restricted free agent. And DeAndre Ayton, I'm just gonna start off with him. He just doesn't look like he wants to be there. His press conference, he doesn't look enthusiastic about them matching that offer. And I think that's got to be a worry, like just in the back of Phoenix Suns fans' heads coming into the season. Like, what is his mentality going to be like? Like, is he going to be ready? Is he going to, I mean, he's going to go out and give you, I know he's going to go out and ball. Like, he's a dog. He's going to go out and give you 15 and 12 a night. But
He's a double double guy for sure. Okay, I'm just gonna throw this in your head. Do you think they matched that just to trade him?
it's definitely a realm of possibilities. Um, I would assume matching an offer, you wouldn't be able to trade somebody for a while. I'm assuming you'd have to keep him for a while. There's some clause in there, but he has a lot of trade value. And with the way that Rudy Gobert got traded and with what the Jazz got for him, I don't want to know what DeAndre Ayton goes for. I don't care what the money is. I don't want to know. That's like 8 first-round draft picks.
I
Like,
can't wait. I can't wait to talk about the Utah Jazz. That was one of my favorite things that happened this all season. How they basically turned two players into a whole team. So we'll talk.
yeah,
We'll save that for the Northwest Division. But no, okay. I mean, obviously, when you look at Phoenix, you look at D Book, 2K23 cover boy Devin Booker, and Chris Paul. Chris Paul's getting up there, but he's Chris Paul. He is the point guard. He'll he'll always he's by far the best point guard of this generation. That's not arguable. But okay, now you start looking outside those two pieces. Ooh, are you gonna argue? You
best
gonna
point guard of the generation. What do you define as the generation?
last 20 years?
Last 20 years?
Or you're gonna toss
I
it up
don't
between
know.
you're gonna toss it between Steph and Chris Paul?
Yeah, I was.
Okay, okay, I get that. I get that. I just see Chris Paul as so much older than Stephen Curry. I don't believe that he's only 3 years older
I
than him.
know. It's only 3 year difference, so
It feels like a lot more than that, but I mean, when you talk about handles, passing, you think of Chris Paul. His mid range game is still as good as it gets. So, but you look at pieces outside of that. What are you going to get out of Aiton? How much is he going to care? Mikal Bridges, I love Mikal Bridges. I think he's got that he's that piece that now he's got the defensive side of the ball. Now that offensive game has to go somewhere. He's got to be that third slash fourth scorer. When Booker's having a bad night, that next wing scorer needs to be Mikal Bridges. And I want to
yeah.
see him use Cam Johnson more. I
Oh,
mean,
yeah.
he's
Big
just a
fan of
pure
Cam
shooter.
Johnson. He's a good. I know they have him on here as a small forward, but he's a great stretch forward in my opinion. He can come in and he can space the floor immediately. I mean, you can't just leave him open.
No. And how many fours in the NBA are, if you throw Cam Johnson at the four, how many fours in the NBA can actually guard Cam Johnson? Fours that aren't named Giannis Antetokounmpo,
Yeah,
if you want to consider Giannis a four, which
he's at every position.
factual statement. He's a 1 through 5. But
I like the light. I like Jay Crowder. I'm looking down here. I like Cameron Payne off the bench. And Elfrid Payton even. I mean, they're not starting point guards in the NBA by any means, but um, they're good quality backups. I mean, they have decent role players. Dario Saric. Um, I know he had a little bit more upside coming into the league, but he's a good role player, and I think that's what Phoenix needs. I think they need a depth, and I think they could have it. We'll definitely have to see. Damian Lee come in as well in the offseason. It's going to be interesting this year for Phoenix. I'm curious to see how the Suns do.
Yeah, Sarge, he's had a lot of injury troubles. I mean, he was out all last year because of it, and integrate him back into this offense with Cam Johnson. That second unit for Phoenix is really good.
Yeah,
A very talented second unit, but I want to see somebody. I want to see big things from Mikal Bridges. I think it's finally his time to shine.
yeah, absolutely. Going on to the fifth and final team of the Pacific Division, it is I was gonna say arguably, but it's probably not even arguably the worst front office in history of the NBA. The Sacramento Kings. I I don't even know what to say about this. Okay, well, the Kings, you're not making the playoffs again. I'm gonna be honest. I don't care what you do in between now and then. You'll have a nice another lottery pick, probably top five.
You
Probably
think
should
they're
just
gonna?
tank, but
You think they're going to be that bad?
yes,
This
I
ros this
no
roster
faith in
this
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 roster.
roster says they shouldn't be that bad though. Okay, you're starting five. Let's piece this together with me.
We're
De'Aaron
going.
Fox,
It's De'Aaron Fox, probably.
Kevin
Uh,
Herter,
yeah, Kevin Herter.
Harrison Barnes.
Then you're gonna go Sabonis and what?
No,
Alex Lynn?
you're gonna go
Like,
Keegan Murray. You're gonna go Keegan Murray than DeMontis Sabonis. I know you're going small there,
oh, I
or
didn't. Oh
you,
yeah. Okay. They,
yeah,
I
that,
forgot
yeah,
they have Sabonis
yeah.
power
You know
forward.
he's yeah. Um, Keegan Murray's top five pick. He's going to play.
Well, he should.
He should play. He should play. He has to play. Taken
Yeah,
number
I
four
like Keegan
overall.
Murray.
I do too. I think he was really good at Iowa. I don't know if he was the right pick there, but with considering what they had, I mean, they already had De'Aaron Fox, so Jaden Ivey didn't really fit in to their system. I mean, that's why they got rid of Tyrese Halliburton, which I thought was a huge mistake.
Yeah,
I thought that should have been De'Aaron Fox who got traded, not Tyrese Halliburton.
agreed. Absolutely.
I just don't know if they would have got as much for Fox as they did for Halliburton. I I scratched my head at that trade. I like the Kevin Herter signing. I like the Malik Monk signing, who
Yeah.
had a good year for the Lakers last year. I think that's a good move. Kent Bazemore is there now, role player guy, can play defense, come off the bench.
I mean, I will point out the obvious about this team, but this team is just there's just no depth here. I
I
mean, you could argue maybe Allen Lynn's a good backup center for the NBA, like at a I don't want to say a lower level team, but for the Kings, it's probably not a bad backup center. Um, Cam Bazemore coming off the bench probably isn't bad for Harrison Barnes. Assuming Bazemore doesn't start. Davion Mitchell isn't a bad backup point guard. I mean, he's a defensive sided point guard, and that's probably good for the Kings, honestly. Um, there's not honestly looking at this, there's not a lot of defense in this team, in my opinion.
you and I were looking at the same thing. This team's going to give up a lot of points.
Yeah, I
I
think they'll give up the most points per game.
I do like the Mike Brown hire. As a Golden State guy, I do like that. They did hire Mike Brown, long
Yep.
time the Golden State assistant. I think that was a good move because I mean, obviously he comes from a winning culture in Golden State. He'll bring some of that to the Kings. They're not a playoff team, not yet.
No.
I think they're a 30 to 35 win team. I think
Yeah,
that I think they're going to surprise some people some nights because you're going to have a night where Sabonis gets hot and Malik Monk gets hot, or nights where Herter gets hot, and nights that De'Aaron Fox is just De'Aaron Fox. Like he's only 24, by the way.
yeah, De'Aaron Fox is young.
He's young. Like Davion Mitchell's been in the league 2 years and he's the same age as De'Aaron Fox.
Yeah.
Like they're young. Like that's the thing about this team. They're young. I like the core.
I'm
A
looking at
lot.
this, and there is one guy over 30 years old, and Harrison Barnes is 30 on the dot.
Yeah.
This has to be the youngest team in the NBA, and the only other team I can think of
Uh,
is the Rockets.
or the Thunder.
Yeah, well, the Kings, you guys have a very interesting season up ahead. I think what the Kings want out of their team this season is some fight. I want to see them go out and not just tank immediately. I don't want to see them just drop the games all the time against the good teams. Pick up a good win, few good wins here and there against some bigger teams like the Lakers, like the Warriors, maybe beat the Nets. Obviously not probable, but it'd be nice to just see them pick up a couple good wins this season, probably get another lottery pick and see what they can do in the draft.
Yeah. So you wanna pick the order of the division?
Yeah. We'll predict the standings as of today on September 28th, 2022. Um, in my opinion, I'm going to go. We won't say any records, but I'm gonna say the Warriors will win the division. I'm gonna say the Clippers, the Suns, the Lakers, and the Kings.
I'm gonna go Warriors, Suns, Lakers, Clippers, Kings.
Yeah,
I
I think it'll be
I
a very competitive division.
I think this division might get 4 teams. I think you could see. I think this division will get 4 teams. I think the Suns, the Warriors, the Clips, and the Lakers are all 4 playoff teams. And you just look at the other divisions. Well, Utah's not going to be as strong anymore. They traded their entire team. What's Portland going to look like now? I mean, Memphis and Dallas are going to be good. We expect big things out of New Orleans. We've been expecting big things out of New Orleans for a while,
Yeah,
but we'll talk about the health of one Zion Williamson when we get there. But I mean, Denver's the front runner, and then Memphis, I think, are the other 2 teams that are you can basically lock into playoff spots. I'm very interested to see Minnesota this year too. I think talking through these with you,
yes.
it'll kind of help me out a little bit. But I think the West is going to be tough.
I think the West, if it changed over the past couple years, because I know some people have gone back to seeing the East as the stronger conference, but I think this year it's just you look at rosters, and this is just off the top of my head without even looking at the rest of the NBA, but I've got to say the Western Conference has got to be harder. I mean, it
Oh
is loaded.
yeah, I mean it feels like the majority of your like big stars are on this side. You got Luca with Dallas, you got Ja with Memphis, you got all the big names for Golden State, the big names for the Clippers, the big names for the Lakers. You got Jokic, you got Gobert with Minnesota, you got Damian Lillard, Zion. Like there's just so many huge names in the Western Conference. It just feels like that's where it is. Like all respect to the Eastern Conference, I just think the West is going to be tougher this year.
Oh yeah, and there's some teams out of the East that can win an NBA championship. I mean, you look at last year, you look at the Bucks. If they have Chris Middleton, they're in the NBA Finals, and it's not even close. I don't think. Chris Middleton injury hurt them a lot. The Nets, if they can figure it out, apparently Ben Simmons is looking good. Um, he may shoot some more jump shots this year. We don't know. We'll find out, but it should be interesting to see how the NBA folds out this season. Preseason does start Friday, actually, in the NBA Japan games where Golden State faces the Wizards. So, and the Clippers also play that day. We'll get some taste of NBA action, some highlights here and there, the preseason. And we'll definitely see how teams are feeling before the season starts. So it should be super interesting. I think it'll be a great year in the NBA. I think there's going to be a lot of competitiveness. I think there's going to be some young players who are going to shine again. And I think there'll be some surprises this year. So that'll do it for today's episode of the NBA, and we'll see you next Monday. Have a wonderful rest of your day and week. We hope to have you join us next time on the Two Bros Sports Podcast. With that being said, I'm your host, Hunter Smith. and goodbye.